Never fall in love with a lone player unless it's Facundo Buonanotte.
Here we go, the end of the line. You can't go your way, and I'll go mine. Here we go. The whole world smiles with you.
Facundo Buonanotte made his debut for Leicester City on Monday night against Tottenham Hotspur in a 1-1 draw at the King Power Stadium. A new loan signing from Brighton and Hove Albion has just signed a 4-year contract to Brighton, so this is a player that will not be joining Leicester City at the end of the season. And you can imagine that his price tag is going to be very, very high for many years to come, so it is unlikely we will ever see him in a Leicester shirt again after this season. He's come into a Leicester City side that have been lacking creativity over pre-season and have really struggled to score goals. But I've got to say, I don't think I've seen a more convincing and impressive debut from a lone player or even any player in a Leicester City shirt for quite some time. In the first half at the King Power Stadium on Monday night, Leicester really struggled when they won the ball back. We were pinned back in defensive areas by Tottenham. We were under the cosh for the full 45 minutes pretty much. But on the small, rare occasion we did win the ball back and tried to make it up the pitch, many times we became unstuck with the likes of Wilfred Ndidi, Abdul Fatawu, Jamie Vardy and Bobby De Cordova-Reid losing the ball, either giving it away or trying to take a man on and getting tackled. But the same cannot be said for Facundo Buonanotte. Every time the ball came to him in that first half, he just seemed to get it right. Whether it was taking a man on, obviously at times it didn't work, but many times it did. Finding the right pass at the right time, laying off the likes of Vardy or Bobby De Cordova-Reid. He just seems to have that little bit of flair that we are lacking in this Leicester City team. And of course, there's always excitement when there's a South American who comes to the King Power Stadium on loan, like Tete. Let's not talk about that one. And of course, Tete also had an impressive debut for Leicester. But something feels different about Buonanotte. A guy that had quite a lot of game time in the Premier League last season, either starting or just coming on as an impact. And he showed why Leicester City picked him out as one of their number one targets for the attacking areas this summer. In his debut, he created one big chance, which doesn't sound a lot, but for a side that was under the cosh and pretty much didn't get out their own half for the first 45 minutes, that is pretty good. He had 39 touches of the ball with an 86% pass completion rate, and also one cross that did come off successful as well. He made 3 tackles. He recovered the ball 5 times. He was only dribbled past once. No errors that led to shots. No errors, of course, that led to goals. He won 60% of his duels, was fouled 3 times, and also won 7 ground duels. I'm going to include here a image of his heat map for the match. You can see that he was pretty much all over the pitch, but he did come deep at times, most likely in the first half. You can see the reddest part of the heat map there, which is the kind of number 10 position on the right side. That isn't surprising for me for 2 reasons. Number one, he is a left footer. He does like to cut in from the right. He played off the right wing several times for Brighton last season. And number 2, the Steve Cooper system that we had on Monday night had Bobby De Cordova-Reid kind of inverting from the left side, which obviously led to Buonanotte moving over slightly to the right. Now, one thing I will say about Buonanotte, which cannot be shown in stats, it was a word that is quite often used now on social media for players, managers, and things like that, which is a bit cringe, but he just seemed to have that aura. This was his debut at 19 years old for a new club that he'd just come into on loan, a team that, had a lot of negativity surrounding them over the past few weeks, a team that many of their own fans expected to lose this game. But he just seemed to get it. He seemed to play up to the occasion. That type of character is something we see in the likes of Riyad Mahrez and James Maddison. Overall, it was just a brilliant brilliant debut for him. And, if I was a Brighton fan watching it, and I'm sure many did, not only because it was the Monday Night Football, but also probably to watch him, I'd be really excited being a Brighton fan and seeing what he did for Leicester City on his debut. Now, at the moment in Leicester, we're kind of pinning all our hopes on two 19-year-olds, Abdul Fatawu and Facundo Buonanotte, which isn't a great thing, to be honest with you. It adds unneeded pressure to these young players. And although Abdul Fatawu probably does strike me as the kind of player that the pressure might get to a little bit more, from the body language and the character that I saw from Buonanotte on Monday, I've just got this feeling he might thrive in this kind of environment, being this, bringing this magic to the King Power Stadium and to this squad. And of course, Leicester City's transfer business isn't over just yet. We're bringing in Jordan Ayew for £5 million with add-ons. He will offer depth in those attacking areas. We have academy product Will Alves, who plays in the number 10, and he will obviously share some minutes as well. And if Steve Cooper's recent press conference is to be believed, we will be bringing in another number 10 at some point before the window shuts next week. This will allow Facundo Buonanotte to not burn out, to not be put under pressure at all times, to be able to have some rest. But I have faith, and I think many Leicester fans also have faith, and if they don't, I'm trying to give you faith. I think Facundo Buonanotte is absolutely magic, and I think he will really, really help us this season in trying to stay up and fight against relegation. So after all that, as I said at the start, they say never fall in love with loan players, but I think we might just have to.